What is up, family? Welcome back to the Brandon Brews channel. Hey, I have not done a video like this in quite some time. So as you can see from the title, I just want to give you my 10th month review of driving for Marten Transport. So we're going to jump into it. We're not going to try to prolong it, because don't you hate those videos? They tell you what you're going to do, and then they start talking about the weather. They walking outside, they looking at the truck, they going into the truck stop. We're not going to do all that. We're just going to jump into it. Stay tuned. Let's do it. All right, before I jump into it, I'll give you guys a quick, just a small, quick background. If this is your first time on my channel looking at me or whatever, thank you so much for watching. Be sure you like, comment, and subscribe. There's a playlist of my trucking journey. I've been driving almost 3 years, but I'll give you a little background. I was with Marten originally back in 23, 24? No, 24. In 24, and I was running local, and when I was running local, they lost the account. I was out of Chicago. When I say running local, I was home every day. It was a dedicated account. They lost the account and they laid us off. I still wanted to be local, so I found another job. They did have a regional position available. If I wanted to be regional, I could have, but at that time, I wanted to still be local and go home every day. So I decided to, I did that, went to a different company, then I came back, because the company I went to, it was a decent company. But when dispatch and management started playing, and I found myself for 2 weeks only working like for 2 days in a week, and wasn't going for that, because at that time, of course, that position, that job, it wasn't an hourly position. You got paid for the mile. So if you're not driving, you're not making any money. I got like a $500 check 1 week, and the other week was like $600, and I was just like, nah. And I was making good money. I was bringing like 12, 13, 14 home after taxes, and you jump down to 500. And it's all because of dispatch, because that I was going to, look, listen, you'll have to watch that video. I'm not going into that. I said I wasn't gonna do that. All right, love. So I'm back, and this is me 10 months. February will actually make a year. February 2026 will make a year that I've been driving consistently and all this time for Marten. But if you count it all together, it's been 18 months that I've driven at Marten or whatever. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the thing that everybody want to talk about, is the pay. The pay is decent. I really don't have any complaints with that. I came back for the minimum guarantee, because when I stepped out and went to that different company, had they had a minimum guarantee, I would have been fine. But the minimum guarantee guarantees you and say like, well, if we can't offer you the miles, this is the minimum your check will be. You'll get this. If breakdown, or if you didn't run that much, you're going to get this. And see, that's what I was used to. So, and that's the thing. If you're a new trucker and you're out here looking, I would suggest you find something that does have a minimum guarantee. Or if you're going to be doing something, you got to look and see what those caveats are. So you're not just out here. You're just out here. Like, being out here doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't get you paid. It's actually what you do out here. If you're not working, if you're not driving, you're not making any money. So the lowest check I've ever gotten from here was $800, and that's because I took time off. Actually, I took time off the beginning of this month. I went to go see my dad in Arizona. So I took some time off, and if you don't work 5 days within a week, you need to work at least 5 days. You don't get the minimum. So, like, I'm at, like, with the minimum, if I get minimum guarantee, I still clear $1,000. So I still bring $1,000 home, or a little more than $1,000 with the minimum. So I do like that. But yeah, so I haven't had any issues with the money. When it comes to minimum guarantee, they want you to be on time for deliveries. They want you to turn in your paperwork on time. They want you to do your electronic trip confirmations. It's just this little thing that come across. You just got to okay and confirm it. And you can't have any preventable accidents. And I think that's it. It sounds like a lot, but realistically, this is just like the same stuff you're supposed to do at any trucking company. You're supposed to be on time, turning your paperwork, and doing all that. So what I've started doing in the last probably 2-3 months, I just scan everything while I'm there, get rid of it, sign, scan it, and it's all done. So at the end of the day, I don't have to be thinking about, did I turn that in? Did I fill that out? Did I scan that? I ain't got to think about it because I know I did it already. All right, so let's talk about the miles. As a whole, as just in a nutshell, Marten keeps me running. Like, I've never had an issue with not having a load. I think there was one time I had delivered a load. My clock was like done for the day. I was getting ready to park, but I didn't have a pre-plan. But by that morning, when my 10-hour was up, I had a pre-plan. So they have miles and they will run you. That's one thing. Marten wants you to be productive. They don't want you lollygagging with your clock. They don't want you taking a lot of breaks. I did see a message come across. They sent everybody that message talking about taking excessive breaks. Now, I don't know what excessive is. It's not like, I don't feel like they're saying don't take a break. Don't stop and eat. Don't pee. I don't think they're saying that. But don't be overdoing it. And like, for me, case in point, when I'm not at home, I'm out here to get this money. I'm out here to make this money. So I like, come on, let's do it. So I'm out here running my clock, and I run my clock like almost every day. Under some circumstances, I can't run my clock. Like today, I had a load yesterday. I came out the house yesterday. I had a live unload, did that. Then I had a live load, did that. And that live load, I picked it up, delivered it yesterday. It was supposed to be due today at 3, but I delivered it last night. Then I stayed at the terminal. My next load picked up today. Actually was ready last night, but I stayed at the terminal. Went and got it, but this load does not deliver until tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So I got all this empty space. I've been sitting here like trying to figure out, like, do I drive all the way there? Well, today I can't drive all the way there because I'm actually in the middle of a shutdown. They shut me down when I was about an hour into the drive, and they were like, hey, stop driving, go find somewhere to park. Found somewhere to park, and they messaged me again, was like, are you shut down? So it's the winter season. But like I said, they want you to work. They want you to work. They want you to drive. You got the time on your clock, they want you to work. So I guess I just got accustomed to that. I don't have a problem working. Just don't interfere with my home time. If we good, if I'm out here working, doing my thing, cool. But yeah, I haven't had an issue with that, with miles or whatever. I think I've seen this online. Somebody was like, they don't like you taking longer than 10-hour breaks. I don't think, well, okay, so let me make this point. I take a 10-hour break and I get up and start driving, especially if I got a load that has the miles. I'm going to get up and drive. When I come out of the house, I come out the house to work. That's what I do. Now, I do understand realistically, sometimes you need more than 10 hours, but the only way I'm going to take a longer 10-hour break is if I shut down and the load doesn't deliver until like later on, and there's no reason for me to start my clock early. Then yeah, I can see that happening. But if you got time and you got miles to drive, get up and drive. That's just my philosophy. Okay, so let's talk about management and dispatch. We're going to talk about the truck policy. There are certain policies and criteria that they have here. There's one that I really dislike because it just don't make sense. So September, I decided to take a week off for my birthday. Mind you, when I came back in February, I had not taken a day off or anything until September. So we're talking about what, March, April, May, June, July, August. We're talking about 7 months later. I actually take a day. I took 5 days off. And so when you take 5 days off, they count that as a week, and they make you take the truck back to a terminal. Did that. It can't stay at a drop block. It can't stay at a drop yard. Like I park at the drop yard in Chicago, but they don't want that. They want you to take it to a terminal because they saying they can be more productive with that truck and give it to somebody so they can keep making money. And I get it, but then I don't understand that because, well, hear me out. So I take the truck, I go on vacation, celebrate my birthday and all that, and I come back, and now I need a truck. I go to the terminal to pick up a truck. They give me a truck. While I'm putting that truck, setting it up, putting my stuff in, I see my truck. I see somebody actually leaving the terminal in my old truck. And I'm just like, y'all could have just waited a day or two and I would have been back in my truck. So that's what happened then. And then I take this Freightliner. It was a Freightliner. Had about 300,000 miles on it. I get in this Freightliner and it seemed to be okay, but there was a few things that it needed work. Few issues were happening. I would be driving down the road and the deer guard would just fall down and I not know it's down. People stop me blowing their air horns, truckers telling me like, hey, check your truck. So I pull over and it's the deer guard that's down. And so I had to get that fixed. So I take it to the terminal to get fixed. Then I find out that it's something more major wrong with this truck. I think the drive shaft, the rear diffs were leaking. So they would have had to drop the drive shaft to get that fixed, but they don't do that at the terminal. Freightliner, the dealership does it. So, and then that truck needed a PM. We were trying to schedule the PM and they were going to send me to Texas. Why send me to Texas that far? I don't know. But it just got kind of ugly. And then my fleet manager was like, how about we just put you in another truck? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Because I was going to get put in a loaner truck anyway, because it probably would have took a week for them to do the rear diff drive shaft thing. So I end up getting to another Freightliner. I'm in that Freightliner. It's cool. I check everything out. Seems to be all right. Well, by this time it's October. And it's like the last week in October, Chicago and Northwest Indiana area, it got cold. It got cold and it snowed. So I get to the truck over the weekend, from the weekend, off the weekend, turn the heat on to defrost my windshield and it doesn't defrost. It's blowing out cold. The heat was starting to work intermittently. Like when I start driving, it'll warm up and then it'll go back to cold. It'll warm up and it'll go back to cold. So what we got to do, we got to take it back to the terminal. Went back to the terminal. I think they said something was clogged. The coil, heating coil was clogged. And it's a Freightliner. They don't do that to Freightliners, because you got to take all the dash apart. So what had to happen? They had to take that truck to the dealer. Mind you, this is October. I came back just off a week and all of this is happening. So that is my third truck. Well, what happens? They give me another truck and this is the truck I'm in now. And so this is supposed to be a loaner truck. This is a KW. And I told them, hey, this is actually the color I've wanted all this time. And I don't like, I was in a KW and two Freightliners, and I honestly was like, I like the way the KW drive. It drives way more smooth. And the Freightliners, they don't have a lot of features. They get automatic lights. They get LED lights. I do like that. But you don't get automatic door locks. You can't drop the suspension. You can't, like, yeah, so I was like, let me just stay in here. And also this truck had the less miles out of all the other ones. So I was just like, yeah, let me just do that. And they was like, you sure? And I'm like, yeah, so I'm in the KW. But why do you have to do all that just because you took a week off? I can see if I was gone 2, 3. I can see if it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Okay, yeah, you about to lose that truck. But 1 week, like I left on I turned the truck in Friday and came back the Monday after the week. Like, that was a lot. And to have to go through all these obstacles, like I'm taking stuff out of this truck, putting it in, taking stuff out, putting it in. Like, that was a lot. So Martin, y'all should revise that. That needs some looking into it. Especially when you got especially when you got a good driver. Like, come on, y'all. All right, so other things with management and dispatch. When it comes to management and dispatch, I feel like this is trucking as a whole. You are not going to have a perfect company, and you just kind of got to pick and choose what works for you and what don't work for you. The biggest thing I will say with being at Martin, I just have to remember to communicate and to advocate for myself, because the minute you don't say something, the minute they think that, oh, you okay with that? You never said nothing. So we'll push you out to Texas, even though you're supposed to be home every other day. We'll push you out here. Oh, yeah. So I've gone through those things, but as a like I said, you got to advocate, and you got to be like, hey, I'm supposed to be home Friday. Hey, am I going to be home Friday? Hey. Sometimes you do have to do that, but I've done that at other companies. I've been at 3 companies now. This is the 3rd company, and I've had to do that. Companies tell you you're not a number, you're a driver, you're a person. I know, I like to believe that, but I'm not saying that's what Martin's philosophy is. But at the end of the day, like, you're dealing with people who works in the office. You're dealing with people who sit behind a desk, and they're trying to school you on how to drive a truck from reading a piece of paper. Like, that's the reality of all of this. So I just kind of look over that and whatever. But the biggest thing, like I said, my dispatcher, we get along fairly well. I think we might have had one little run in on something. It didn't get heated, but I stood my ground on something. And the thing it was about, I wasn't getting home when I was supposed to. And I remember after that conversation, he didn't talk to me for 3 weeks. Literally, we did not have a phone conversation or nothing. We only talk maybe once a week. I might hear from him one time in a week. And after that, he didn't talk to me for 3 weeks. But he had to call me this one particular day. And he called and he was like, hey, it was about some load or something. It was about something. Something had happened or whatever. I had to pick up something from a different driver. So he just needed to call me and tell me that. But I told him, I said, I ain't heard from you in almost 3 weeks. And he was like, oh, well, you're just such a self-sufficient driver. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I was like, look, listen, no hard feelings. I said, I'm not mad at you. Because some stuff is just, it's just the industry. It's just the industry. Like, I went to pick up my load. This was 2 weeks ago. Went to pick up a load from a place I've always been to picking up loads. And I go, they say, oh, yeah, your trailer's ready. I go there, look at the bills, and I'm like, this ain't no Martin trailer. Literally, they done loaded my load on a Dart trailer. And I'm just like, where's the checks and balances in the industry? Why did someone load that trailer and not look it over to see? Now, all trailers, most of them, have the name of the company inside them. No one decided to look at that BOL to make sure it matched. And that's not on Martin. That's not on any truck drivers. That's just the shipping. That's the warehouse. That had nothing to do with me. But then I had to come there and fix it. I'm the one that actually looked at it, because had I not looked at them bills, I would have pulled up like, this trailer not in the yard. And then that's the second time that's happened, probably in the last 3 months, that a company has loaded a different trailer other than Martin trailers. So I can't get mad at my fleet manager. That has nothing to do with him. That's just the industry. But that's it. I've been having a decent time here. You just do what you're told, and be respectful, and that's it. So yeah, it's been decent. Hopefully in February we'll do a full year recap, and I'll tell you guys like what's going on, and what's my review and all of that. So yeah, If you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm not sure when this video will be coming out, but let me just say Happy New Year to all. Stay safe. Be blessed.